Okay, so I told you I would send you something to work on reconnecting to your core. So the first way you're going to connect to your core is by simple breathing. But we want to do it in a couple supported positions so that you're not just breathing into your belly, which is maybe feeling a little bit soft because you've been pregnant and it's been stretched. And now we want to just give it as much support so that it can regain that muscle control. So a couple things that might be helpful if you have them: a ball or like a pillow and a block, or 2 pillows. These are great tools to have. If you don't have them, pillow would be great. Yeah, some squishy pillows. But first we're going to start sitting against the wall. And so the goal here is to get onto your sits bones. So those, like, you can feel your sits bones, your butt bones. And I have to shift, oh hello Tabitha, shift that fleshy bit to the side so you can really feel that. And then you're sitting, not like you're not sitting straight up, but you do feel kind of your mid back, maybe your sacrum kind of near the wall. And then you're going to reach forward and lean forward a little bit so that as you inhale, you're going to inhale against the wall. So you're thinking about filling the back of the ribs. So you're inhaling, exhaling, nice and soft. Tabitha. Inhale, exhale. So this is just a spot we're creating space in the upper body by reaching forward. Big inhale, exhale, soft release. This is a great way to see how that pelvic floor is feeling. Feel that pressure shift through the side body, the back body, maybe down into the floor a little bit. Exhale, everything comes back to neutral. So what I'm going to give you is basically a circuit that you do all through once on one side and then all through again on the other side. You're only going to see me do it on one side though, because the camera is only going to work on one side. So you might be feeling like you can't feel your breath. All of that is normal right now. Your body is probably holding a lot of tension because it's hypermobile. And so when we're hypermobile, our body starts to feel stuck. So breathing against a wall gives you some stability, helps you feel a little bit, your body feel a little more safe. So you can really push and release that tension. Let's just do 2 more. Great, okay. So onto your hands and knees, doing a supported child's pose. A block is great for this because we're gonna continue to open up the back, right? So we're gonna squeeze the block or a pillow, whatever you have. Sitting back, I want you to think about where your feet are. A lot of people want to do their child's pose with their feet like that. I want you to do a little bit more like that so that we can recreate some balance, either out a little bit or right in line with those sits bones. Whatever's most comfortable for you in your still healing body. So we're gonna hold that block between the arms, the forearms, and then we're gonna kind of scrunch ourselves in a little bit so that those knees, legs are pushing up against our belly, so that when we inhale, hopefully you can hear me, my hair's not rustling the mic too much. You feel resistance against your belly, so all the pressure comes into your back. So a good one to drop those shoulders away from the ears. Deep inhales, find those spots. You might feel a lot of tension in the mid-back, and that's okay. You're just gonna breathe into them. Big inhale. Feel that diaphragm really push the pressure down. That diaphragm's kind of right where your bra line is, and then you might feel that pressure go down towards your tailbone. So take as long as you need here. Rest your head if you want. I usually wind up kinking my neck if I do that, so. So as you're breathing here, you're thinking about finding those spots that are tight, that feel disconnected, and just inhaling into them, and then exhaling softly through the belly. Everything comes back to neutral. I know, it's like, really? You're just having me doing breathing drills? Yes, that's where it starts. Okay, so now we are going to do some 90-90. So just meaning you have 90-degree legs, knees and hips. I like a ball for this, but you could use a pillow, whatever works. So you have a 90-degree angle here, 90-degree angle here, ding, ding. And you're creating a little bit of grip with those feet, dragging them down the wall, not like, but just a little bit so that you feel those hamstrings. We're gonna open those arms out to like a goal post. And just gonna breathe here a little bit, about 4 breaths, focusing on inhaling into the ribs. If this has flared your ribs and you can't feel your mid back on the ground, right, so everything feels like it's arching up off the ground, then bring those hands back here. Okay, if this opens you up and lifts all of this section up so that you can get an arm under you, it's too much. So you can bring your hands here. If that creates more stability, you can feel your back on the ground. And we're inhaling into those ribs, sideways, down into the floor. Exhaling, belly falls down, ribs fall down. Big inhale into the ribs. Soft expansion in the belly, but not much. Release the pressure in the pelvic floor, and then exhale. It all comes back to neutral. Big inhale. Exhale. Kind of like you're fogging a mirror with that exhale. And last one like this. Okay, so now we're going to create some movement and wake up that pelvic floor. So on your inhale, you're going to inhale into those ribs, but you're going to imagine laying your tailbone down on the ground. So it's a pelvic tilt. So inhale down, tailbone is coming down, and then exhale, you're going to imagine lifting through that pelvic floor, right? Kind of like lifting through with lifting the blueberry. And you're going to rock that pelvis back. So you're tipping underneath, squeezing the ball. And just see, without lifting, we're not doing a glute bridge, but just a tilt. And then inhale, release, rock, tailbone onto the ground. Back is going to arch a tiny bit. Exhale, squeeze that ball, lift through that pelvic floor, wrap that belly. You're imagining some tension between those hip bones, and that lower belly is turning on. Maybe some tracing. So big inhale, release. And then exhale, lift through that pelvic floor, squeeze that ball, and wrap. Inhale into the ribs. Release that tailbone towards the ground. Exhale, squeeze the ball, lift through that pelvic floor to feel some tension in that lower core. That's what we want, trying to get those, we're not squeezing the glutes, we're simply using that lower core to bring that pubic bone up a little bit. And then inhale, it all goes down. Exhale, so just pelvic rocks, pelvic tilts. You take it a couple more at your pace. Exhale when you're ready. You're using that exhale to wake up those muscles. You can also use your hands. So what's happening is pelvic floor is lifting. Abdominal muscles are coming back together. So sometimes tracing with your hands as though you're closing a corset or zipping from the bottom up. Inhale, release. Exhale, imagine like a zipper. As it comes out. Okay, we're gonna do 2 more like this. Inhale, release. Excellent. Okay, so rolling to the side. Pillow for your neck. We're gonna put those feet on the wall. You can only see one of my feet, but they are both there. I like to have a ball here for this, or a pillow, something that you can shift on. So what we're trying to think of is, you know, your like side hip bone, or it's really your femur, but you should be able to feel it on the ground, this one down here. So you might have a little space here, which is fine, better than falling into the floor. So imagine lengthening both sides. My dryer's gonna make a bunch of noise, hopefully you can hear me. So the goal here is we're gonna reach with our arms, and you're gonna just do some hip shifting. So what that means is feet stay where they are. You're gonna imagine this upper leg is gonna glide back. So the hip is coming back, kind of almost tilting back towards that back wall. And then it's gonna come forward. And you might feel a lot of like, muscles really working hard in the glute. And maybe even in the foot. So think about 3 points in the foot, the heel and under the pinky, big toe, that area. We want all of those spots. Just show you here and here. 1, 2, 3. Think about putting those on the ground, on the wall, or the ground if you were standing on the ground. So we're just doing some hip shifting to get those hips balanced again and those muscles turning on. So we're inhaling to come back, comes back. Exhale to pull yourself forward. It doesn't have to be a deep exhale, but waking up that core, waking up those hips, that pelvis. It's okay to use those exhales. Nice and long inhale, exhale, come back. Big inhale. So you should be feeling that bone, that other leg bone on the ground. It should stay there the whole time. Good, let's just do 2 more. Pressing into those feet as that shifts, and then it comes back, and then shift back, and forward. Good. Okay, so keeping this here, now knees are in line, hips are on top of each other. We're gonna add in some upper body release. So you have lots of space here. It's nice to have this so that you're not falling down. And reaching far, and we're just gonna do some rainbows. So we're gonna inhale and relax here, and then back up and around. Really lengthen, 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 lengthen. Reach out, out, up and over. I have a great space over here. So go around your obstacles. Feel free to turn your arm in different planes to see if you have some tension in some spots. If you find a spot where you're like, whoa, that really hurts. If it's just a tension hurt, then see if you can just stay there and breathe. And maybe just move, bend. Don't be afraid of the pain. It's just your body sending you a signal that something's up. Not that something's necessarily wrong, but it's like, hey, we are holding a lot of tension here. And breath and a little bit of nerve flossing, meaning just moving, letting that fascia glide, letting those muscles glide, can help relieve that tension. So wherever you are, that was clearly my tight spot. And then up and over. Let's just do 1 more. You can take as long as you want. Good. Okay, so last little exercise for you. I'm gonna switch. I want my block here. So I'm keeping the block or pillow here because when I don't have that, so if I think about like when you're pregnant and you're sleeping and there's so much tension built here because look at that angle. Okay, so we're trying to realign the pelvis. So we're gonna help that by, this block is maybe a little bit big for me, but having something that will keep those femurs more in their space instead of being internally, externally oriented. So having something there is great. I'm shifting up onto my elbow. We're gonna work on some core work. So anything that you have that's squishy or that you can just press some tension into, you can just press into the Is it coming back to me? Sweet. We want something that we can push against to create some tension. So what we're doing is inhaling, releasing tension, exhaling, using that pelvic floor, and wrapping here. Imagine this lower belly coming back towards the spine without tucking. Okay, we're not going to tuck. We're in line, hips, ribs, head, everything's in line. So I'll demonstrate. We're inhaling here, nice and loose on the ball. Feet are just supported on the wall, we're not pushing hard. Big inhale, release. Release tension on the block. Exhale, lift through that pelvic floor. Maybe squeeze whatever's between your knees a tiny bit because it turns on that lower core. And then you're going to press into that ball, pillow, whatever it is. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift through that pelvic floor. Hug that lower core back. And press. So we don't want to press up here because then that's a chest exercise. We want to imagine wrapping the shoulder down and pressing from underneath the, kind of like if you imagine down and along your bra strap, and that belly is starting to create tension too. Okay. Whew. Cat's cat hair is still here. She's not here, but my cat's cat hair is. Okay, so ready? Big inhale. Exhale. Then you have a full release of tension. Exhale, lift through that pelvic floor. Wrap that corset. Hug. You imagine that waist is just, feel those muscles starting to wake up. If this is the first time you're doing this, you're not going to feel it immediately. Depends on where you are in your postpartum journey. Big inhale, release. Exhale. More. I want you to notice just how that core is feeling, how it's firing. Good. Okay, now shake that up. Okay, so now you're going to start the video over and go through the whole thing again. You're going to sit with your back against the wall. Feel that breath. It's going to feel different now that you're really warmed up. Hopefully you can really feel everything starting to expand and move, and you're really building that connection. Do it on the other side, and then let me know what questions you have. I think that's going to be really helpful for getting that lower core to turn on, for helping you build some strength to get out of bed, and also to maybe open up a little bit of space in that chest and the shoulder and some rib cage mobility. So many things, so many fun things we can do. I'll see if I can make some more videos, because why not? Okay, let me know how it goes.